Welcome back to the Rise Personal Training Podcast. I'm Coach Chris here with
Coach Fish.
What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about diet myths and separating fact from fiction.
That's right.
I mean, we don't have all the answers, but we're going to give you the ones that we know.
Yeah. As someone who studied nutrition in college, I think I sort of have an issue with sort of like the word diet, not necessarily because it's like bad, but to me that sort of implies that it's like, I'm going to go on a diet.
It's like changing everything.
Yeah, I'm going to change everything, but then going on a diet sort of means that it implies that you're sort of going to just go back to your old ways. Mm-hmm. So today we're just going to talk about that, and then also how can we actually make a change our eating, but make sure that it actually sticks.
Like it's sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, I mean, diets... you see them everywhere now, especially with social media. But so many people, I feel that I know, have gone on a diet and then failed in the long term. Like they stick with it for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
But then they don't continue it after that. A lot of it is probably because they're changing literally everything all at once, and they're not changing a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Like we said, everything in moderation. You can definitely make a change to something like your whole diet, say, but make the changes gradually. Because if you go all in, jump in head first, it's going to suck. You're going to want to quit immediately.
Yeah. It could be a bit too much too soon. That being said, like, I mean, people will see results immediately changing from like eating whatever, and then maybe they try something like keto or going vegan or something like that, but the weight loss from that isn't necessarily, or the results you see from that aren't necessarily the diet itself. It's just probably coming from, I'm actually going to be paying attention to what I eat for the first time in however long, and now like I might actually also just be eating less.
Right.
So you don't want to focus, or like you don't want to attribute too much of the results to the actual diet. But that being said, there are a lot of different popular diets like going keto, going vegan, maybe vegetarian, pescatarian, or even carnivore. They all have their place. Nutrition is super, super individualized, but there's pros and cons to each approach. And for most people, I would say that eating a very balanced diet is probably the right approach.
Yeah. I mean, the pros to basically all the ones all the diets that you listed there, they give some sort of structure, and I think that's what a lot of people lack in their day-to-day life and in their diet. There's no real like, hey, I'm going to focus on hitting this and eating that versus, that sounds really good, I'm just going to eat that. So
I call that a seafood diet. You see food and you eat it.
That's perfect. I know that creates like a poor eating habit in the long run because, like you said, you just see the food, you eat it, sounds good. But yeah, really kind of giving some sort of structure is why most people on diets who are successful with it will stick with the diet, because it gives them a structure, gives them something to look forward to, know what they need to eat, what kind of macros or things that they need to hit on a day-to-day.
Yeah. I mean, on the flip side, though, sometimes the rigidity of a diet can be really helpful for someone. They really need those guardrails, but a lot of times, especially if it isn't the right fit, those guidelines or those guardrails are sort of going to make you feel trapped, and you don't have any leeway, no wiggle room, and then you're like, but I really want to eat this. And then you sort of just give up.
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember I tried going vegan once. It didn't go well. This is also before I knew much about nutrition.
That's a rough transition.
It was.
Yeah.
So yeah, like some people might really, really thrive on a vegan diet, but I know there's some people that cannot for the life of them not eat meat. Some people just need to have it. Some people are on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like they don't agree with a lot of plant-based foods, so they have to eat mostly animal-based products.
Yep.
But again, those are typically ends of the extreme. So it's really just a matter of finding out what works for you and like learning what choices to make that will lead to the healthier outcome.
Yeah. I think like, what would you say the real reason like people would see results transitioning from like a regular, like you said, a seafood diet to an actual diet that gives them some structure? What's like the biggest thing?
I would say the biggest thing, like a lot of the popular diets, right, they have the guidelines. So all of a sudden you're cutting out a whole bunch of stuff. Like for the most part, like a lot of those diets are going to sort of almost force you to eat like real whole foods. So if you're cutting out so much processed foods from your diet, it will have an effect, you know. I mean, obviously they make some processed foods for like vegan diets, like everyone's seen tofurkey and
what in the world? I've never heard of that.
Okay.
No, what?
I guess not everyone. Sorry. It's
Dang, tofurkey. That's crazy.
Tofurkey, yeah. Like soy-based meat replacements, or you know, like they make a bunch of keto products too. You know, like sweet snacks that you might be hard to make at home on that diet. But
okay. How about like increased protein? That's a big one too.
Yeah, that is a big one. Like especially if you're going keto or carnivore, right? All of a sudden you're eating all this meat, so your protein's gonna jack up most likely. With vegans, unless you're really smart about it, your protein intake's actually probably going to drop. Yeah. Just because, I mean, obviously there are a lot of good sources of plant-based protein, but typically not as much or easily accessible as something like ground turkey or ground beef.
Right. Yeah. And then you have to eat a lot more of it when you're on a vegan diet because you don't get as much in a single serving. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the common denominator behind most of the successful diets is going to be the guidelines or the kind of structure that it gives you to help you kind of be successful in that, but also making sure that you're not immediately diving headfirst into that diet and really giving yourself some sort of leeway to learn what works for you on what and what doesn't work for you on another.
That being said, if you just want to experiment for a couple weeks and see what it's like, go for it. Yeah. I recently went low carb for about a week just to see. I didn't like it. My body can't do it. And yeah, so nutrition isn't a one size fits all approach, right? Everyone's got their individual genetics preferences. You have different goals, different lifestyles, and even culture plays a huge background in it. You know, like when I'm at home, I eat a lot of rice. I use a lot of Korean seasonings, and that's not stuff I'm really willing to give up. It's stuff that I know.
Going low carb after eating a lot of rice, that must have sucked.
No, yeah, I was definitely dragging for that week.
Goodness.
You have to find what works for you. I would say, like, ultimately it's just about finding that balance. Right. You know, I like going back to sort of the restrictive aspect of those like very rigid diets. It's like, but what if I want to eat ice cream? I think you should be able to. You know, I would say generally like 80% of the time, try to eat real whole foods. And then the other 20% of the time, just have fun, because life's about having fun.
Yeah, you got to give yourself that little bit of leeway. Yeah. So I know there's this whole rage about clean eating. What's your take on that?
Clean eating. I guess to me that sort of just means like, are you basically eating like just whole foods, almost nothing from a package? Some people might go so as far as to say like no additives, or you know, maybe even going super organic or something like that. Okay. I would like, honestly, for me, clean eating is just like eating real food, like food that has one, maybe two ingredients, you know. Like cabbage has one ingredient. A Nature Valley bar has like 12, 40. A lot of ingredients. That being said, Nature Valley bars have their time and place, but in general, the less ingredients there are in your food, as in like within each food item, I think the better off you are typically. But that also, you don't necessarily want to get into the mindset of like, oh, cabbage is good, Nature Valley bars are bad. So yeah, you don't want to. Yeah,
because again, that would kind of toss a lot of people into an eating disorder, and then you create a whole nother set of issues based on that. Yeah.
And that can go back and make your food intake even more restrictive, which again, we're not trying to do. We want to have a nice, healthy, and sustainable relationship with food.
Right. Now, the big one here, chemicals in food. Should you be worried? How are you feeling about these seed oils, this whole...
Seed oils, chemicals. Okay,
rage
listen,
of things.
Everything is a chemical. Yes. My hair is made of chemicals. This phone, water. This microphone, chemicals. Water is a chemical. Whoever wants to... If I told you that you should drink 2 liters of dihydrogen monoxide every day, you'd be like, are you trying to kill me? No, that's just water. Right. That being said, like obviously, like going back to the Nature Valley example, there's going to be a lot of ingredients on there. A lot of those things are chemicals. I mean, you know, there's like oats, there's probably different forms of sugar, Food labels are very confusing. There's some brands that are like more upfront. Their thing is like, hey, look, we have very few ingredients. Other brands sort of try to skirt around regulations because it might say like there's a lot of sugar in it, but then you look at the ingredients and like you only see sugar once, but then there's like this kind of syrup, that kind of syrup. So there's sort of ways to get around that, I guess. But also like things like ascorbic acid or alpha tocopherols. What even is that? Ascorbic acid is vitamin C. Alpha tocopherols are vitamin E. So you just sort of have to know or like learn to know which chemicals are bad, I guess, not to label them good or bad, or like which ones are stuff you might want to eat less of.
Which ones are beneficial, which ones are not as beneficial.
So yeah, I think that, the food industry has been around for a very long time. They've done a lot of research into trying to make you eat their food so they can continue to make money. So they're going to make things taste really good. And sometimes they do use like special chemicals, I guess, to sort of enhance your experience while you're eating them. But
that's that red 40.
Again, again, just going back to like, you don't have to worry about chemicals if your food is just like,
one or two ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. Like an apple, I mean, it's got chemicals in it, but like for the most part,
it's pretty much all natural. Yeah. I mean, again, like the seed oils as well, that goes into that's opening up a whole new can of worms.
Big can of worms.
But just a quick breakdown. I know like seed oils aren't inherently bad. Everyone kind of says they are because they look at the things that they're in, and those things might be inherently labeled as bad because they're hot Cheetos or they're like the Chips Ahoy cookies or something, where you're not getting a lot of nutritional value out of them. And as a filler, they've used seed oils. They tend to be cheaper and they'll use them. So people tend to label them that way. But like you said earlier, they're not terribly bad for you. You just have to look at where they are and what they're in. And base it off of that.
Seed oils, like
not to throw you into that one.
You don't want to eat, like, don't drink seed oil, guys. I don't think anyone's doing that, actually. But
hopefully not.
Like, it's okay to have them. They are often found, like Chris was saying, in a bunch of processed foods. But, like, on their own, like, if you cook at home with them, that's fine. There's actually a lot that goes into the processing of the oils. So, like, the quality of the oil is sort of what's going to be the biggest difference maker. Like a really, really high quality olive oil is going to be very different from like the cheapest canola oil or grapeseed oil that you can buy at the store.
Right.
But that being said, like seed oils do have certain benefits. They're high in omega-6, which is good for cardiovascular health in the long run. Just found in a lot of processed foods because they can be very cheap and easy to make. So.
Well, we'll leave you guys on that one. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Later.